If you're watching this video, chances are you're not so freaking shredded that if you diet, you're gonna lose muscle. Chances are you're probably a little bit overweight. Maybe you're just not quite happy with where you're at and you would love to just be a little bit leaner. Maybe 5% leaner. Maybe you want to go from 25 to 20%, whatever. You can. You absolutely can. Coach Greg, and today I'm reviewing Jeremy Ethier's new video, How to Build Muscle and Lose Fat at the Same Time. 3 simple steps. So basically, I've gone over this video, and it's essentially a summary of what I've said in the last year over and over and over again, with so many people saying, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Coach Greg is an idiot, he's a little manly, he doesn't understand anything. Jeremy Ethier understands a lot. He has a freaking kinesiology degree. I have a master's in freaking kinesiology. We know what we're talking about. We know what we're talking about. So many of you think, no, you gotta bulk, and then you gotta cut, and you gotta do this, and then you gotta do that. This is the truth. This is it. Just watch this video, and by the end of the video, you will know for sure that you can build muscle while in a deficit, and not only that, you will know exactly how, and exactly what to do, to eat and to train, to get this. It's way easier than you think. It's way easier. Trying to dispel the stupid myths that have been prevalent for the last decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, forever. It's wrong. It's time for people to change the mindset.
But what if we could take a shortcut? What if we could instead just build muscle and put on more size while simultaneously getting leaner in the process?
So here are the 2 options that people think. You bulk up, get fat, and then you cut. Or, no, let's cut first, then we'll add muscle after. Those are your 2 options. Well, no, those are the 2 stupid options. This is the option, main gain. What that is you lose fat while adding muscle at the same time. Oh my God, wow.
But the drawback with being at a calorie deficit is that it severely compromises our ability to build muscle.
That's true. Does that mean it's impossible? Does that mean you can't? No, it means it's harder. But we can change this. We can do things with our diet and our training to ensure that we build muscle.
The body has actually been shown to be able to metabolize and use your own body fat to now provide the necessary energy it needs to recover and grow your muscles despite being in a calorie deficit.
So to build muscle, you need protein, you need water, and you need energy. So if you're in a deficit trying to lose weight, well, how can you build muscle? Because the energy comes from the fat on your body. The more fat you have, the more energy that is in fact available. So those of you who are really fat, you guys got tons of energy to build muscle. Not a big deal. You can quite easily diet fairly hard and still have the energy needed to build muscle. You won't feel like garbage, you'll have energy to train, your cravings won't be through the roof, and you can easily be in this calorie deficit while adding muscle. And guess what? Most of us have lots of body fat. Most people aren't at, for example, 9% body fat that I'm at. If you're at 9% and you're trying to cut, that's maybe 1% of the world. The other 99% don't need to worry. It's harder to build muscle, but how much harder is it to build in a deficit? Well, the studies show maybe 20 to 30% less muscle is built in a deficit than at maintenance, for example. So is that a nightmare? No, what does that literally mean? Because people don't know what that means. It means if you would have gained 10 pounds of muscle in a year, instead of 10, you probably would have gained 8. I think most people would be happy with the 8. Oh, I can't diet and build muscle at the same time because I'm only going to gain 8 pounds instead of 10, or 4 pounds instead of 5. 4 pounds of muscle instead of 5 is pretty freaking good. Oh, and FYI, if you say, oh, but no, I want maximum, I want 5 out of 5. Yeah, that's great. But eventually you're gonna have to diet. Eventually the bulk is over. And yeah, you gain 20% more muscle than us main gainers. But guess what? You now have to freaking cut. And we don't, because we're main gaining. And then we're going to gain more muscle than you because you're on a severe calorie deficit while we're not. Do you get it? Bulking and then cutting, yeah, you gain a little bit more muscle when you're bulking, but then you eventually have to cut and then you lose muscle. If you're a freaking strongman competitor and you want to weigh 300 or 400 pounds, then no, you don't need to cut because you want to be huge all the time. But if you ever want to at one point have abs, you need to cut. So this is what you do diet-wise. Let's talk about the diet. Don't over diet. Don't go on a freaking starvation diet. Don't fast. Don't skip meals. Don't do 24, 48, 72-hour fasts. Slowly lose the weight. Slower the better. If you only eat a little bit less calories than you need, you're gonna feel great, you're gonna have plenty of energy to build muscle, and you're not going to really see much of a difference in terms of how much muscle you're building compared to at maintenance.
So for this reason, what you want to do is eat at a very slight deficit of roughly 5% to a maximum of 20%.
If you really diet hard and you cut your calories way down, 1,000 or 2,000 below maintenance, and you're doing cardio all day and you're like, I want to get shredded abs in 6 weeks. I don't care that I need 50 pounds to lose. I want it now. That's the people that are going to use the problems. You need a slow, steady fat loss. I always say 0.5% to 1% body weight a week. If you keep it to the smaller amount, that's the best way to keep the muscle and build it while dieting.
If you're at a higher body fat percentage, I'd aim for the higher end, and vice versa for those at a lower body fat percentage.
So for most people, it's gonna be somewhere between 100 and 500 calorie deficit a day, okay? Not much. So that's just gonna result in a very, very slow fat loss. 1 pound a week or less, that's the best way to really optimize the main gaining process. The slower you lose it, the better. How slow? Slower than freaking last time. Stop asking me how slow. Stop asking me how many calories though. We don't know because you don't know what your maintenance calories is. Just lose it slow. I already said, try not to lose more than 0.5 to 1% a week. The 0.5 is obviously the better speed because it's less. Less than 0.5 is even better. If you're patient and you got the whole year to do it, that is optimal. 0.1 would be better. The smaller, the better. So he throws up a daily maintenance calorie. You multiply your weight by 14 to 16 and do. It's not going to be even remotely accurate to anybody. It's a guess. Don't go with a guess. Whatever you're eating now, eat a little bit less than that. Don't go on the computer and multiply it out. Some of you are going to be like, oh, I weigh 300 pounds times 15. That means I need 4,500 calories for maintenance. Problem is, what if it's 2,500? You go, oh, well, 4,500 minus 20%, that's 900 calories. And you're going to do the whole thing, and it's not going to work out. Eat a little bit less. Lose slow. How slow? Slower than last time. Do you not get it? It's so simple. Slowly lose weight. Slow, 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 slow. Slow it down. It's not a freaking race. It's a marathon. Well, a marathon is in fact a race. It's slower than a marathon. Okay? It's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's slower than both. The leaner you are, the harder it is to lose fat while building muscle because you have less energy to produce. You're going to feel like shit on your diet. You're going to be more hungry and so on. Ghrelins punching you in the face. You know what happens. Eventually your willpower dies and you fail. Lose it slower. When you first start a diet, yeah, it's okay. Motivation's high. You can lose weight real quick. As you get closer to your ideal or your goal, you got to lose it slower so that you have the energy. So when I diet for a bodybuilding show, I'm not trying to lose 1 or 2 pounds a week. I'm trying to lose the slowest amount that I can so that I have energy to train hard and feel good. Trust me, eventually you will not feel good if you try to get to 4 or 5% body fat, but that's not the goal. 15% for most is going to be amazing. And how much protein do you need? Well, I've already done videos on this, but the studies will show 0.5 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is where you need to be. However, if you're in a deficit, bring it up to the 1. Bring it up to the 1. Why? Because some of those amino acids, some of that protein is going to be used for energy because you are cutting. The deeper the deficit, the more protein isn't being used to build muscle, but used for energy. Protein, all macros are used for energy. Protein is the one that's needed to build muscle. So if you're eating a very low calorie diet that's not high in protein, the protein isn't going to be there to build the muscle that you want. So eat more protein. 1 gram per pound of body weight is going to do it for you. Okay? You don't need crazy amounts. And trust me, the more meals you eat, the better, up to 5. So if you're into the I just diet, I eat once a day, I'll fast, it's all great, autophagy, Coach Greg doesn't know what he's talking about. No, 3 to 5 meals a day is where you want to be, closer to 5, especially on a diet, because protein synthesis, muscle protein synthesis is going to occur. You want to spread out your protein intake into each of those meals. Don't think you can just eat a lot of protein once a day. 1 gram of protein, I'll just eat it all in one meal. You need the protein at each meal. The most optimal, if you want optimal, is 5 meals a day with protein in all 5. Try to get in at least 20 grams each time. If not, 4 is next best. And if not 4, 3. There's your math lesson. Hopefully you can count. That helps, okay? Spread it out. Don't be like, for breakfast, I'll just eat a banana. That's great. It's got 1 or 2 grams of protein probably. That's fantastic. I'll just have a bowl of cereal. No, you need to eat protein at each meal in an optimal amount. Try to get in at least 20 grams, okay? If you're bigger, try to get in 30, 40, whatever. But get it at each meal. Spread the meals out. You can't just have them all an hour apart. Spread out through the day. Use some common sense. And what about training? Let's get into the training. This is what you need to do. It's time for Gert's breakfast. Gert wants her protein. She wants to build muscle. She eats 3 times a day plus snacks. 3 times a day plus snacks. So this is what you need to do. You need to train each body part twice a week. 2, not once a week, but twice. Does that make sense? Just train each muscle, chest, twice in the week. And obviously, not 2 days in a row, and then the rest of the days off. Spread it out. Twice a week. That is going to allow you to have the most optimal muscle protein synthesis. You're going to stimulate the muscle for growth. So get in 2, maybe 3, maybe. I don't know. The studies aren't clear for sure, but not 1. So get in 2. That's what I recommend, 2 times. If you don't know how to train, get my home and hotel hypertrophy handbook. Explains how to train each muscle, what to do, and so on. Okay? It's simple. It's easier than you think. You don't need to spend 2 hours a day in the gym. You just need to train harder than last time. You can do it. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette, IFBB Pro. Follow me and check me out on Instagram. And until next time, I am out.